London Marathon 2025. We did it! Today I'm going to do a race recap, but first let's just have a moment for the medal. She is beautiful, and I have the race t-shirt on as well. So this was my, I think, 11th marathon, 6th London Marathon. London was my first marathon back in 2014, and I've been so lucky and fortunate to have run London so many times now. I've run it for charity, I've done Good for Age, I've done Championship, and just so grateful to be on that start line so many times. Now, the idea behind this London Marathon was to qualify myself for Boston. I ran a 3:27 in December at Valencia, but just wanted to solidify my opportunity and my chance of getting in. So that was the kind of goal and the purpose for London. I had a really good training block. I did a 16-week block, but also as well, as I said, like I did Valencia and previously done Chicago as well in 2024. So I was kind of building upon the base that I'd already got. We changed things around this time slightly. I ran 4 times a week. I did 2 forms of cross training, a lot more strength than what I normally do, and a lot of stretching and yoga. And training block went really well. I did have 1 week that was a bit of a blip, but that was my own fault because I pushed it in the week previous. So I had to take a bit of a week off and then came back and everything was okay, luckily. So I had a really good block. I was really excited for the race, also quite nervous, of course. And I was kind of quite keen on thinking like sub 3:25. That was kind of like the main goal to start off with. But also as well, like my PB is 3:22 back from 2019. And I thought if things all go well, I could be getting closer to that. And even potentially I was like sub 3:20 might be a thing. So we fortunately James organises a coach that takes us from Milton Keynes down into London. So we did that on the morning of. It just meant I got to stay in my own bed. I could do my sort of like normal pre-race routine of food. I've done a video on carb loading already, and just meant that kind of you have all of your home comforts. We travelled down on the coach. It was a very early start, but I had my breakfast. I was sipping on a Morton. I think it was 1:60, I think, the morning of, and got there in pretty good timing. Got into the pen, used the toilet, dropped my bag off. I was in pink wave 2, and before we knew it, I was off. So the strategy was for my race to take the first few miles at around 7:40 to 7:45, and then from mile 3 to 18 just kind of settle anywhere between 7:35 and 7:40. Now, if you didn't know, London was quite warm on that day, which was a bit, it wasn't a surprise, but unexpected from the training that everyone had been doing from January. So I just tried to settle into a pace, and to be honest, the first 5k, it took me the first 5k to settle into the race. I was clicking under just 7:40s on my watch, but I was approaching the mile markers a little bit after the time that I was clicking over a mile. So I was like, okay, well, I'm all right. I'm in that 7:40 range. And the first few miles just felt quite hot. 3rd mile, I completely feel like I knew, and everyone talks about how downhill it is, but I just completely forgot how downhill. So I really tried to hold myself back there. And then the 2 starts merge, so everyone comes into together. And by that point, I felt a little bit better. At mile 5, I saw James and a few of our friends, and I just love that part. There's still drummers there. It's an incredible atmosphere, and yeah, just love that. So got a high five from one of our friends, Sean, and then just kind of got a big cheer from James and carried on. And by that point, I was actually feeling a lot better. Still kind of hovering around that 7:40 pace, and I was like, okay, no, things are fine. Like, try not to push it yet, like you've got time here, and it is extremely warm. I was taking on water at every water stop, so they were giving bottles of water out around every 3 miles. And I wasn't just taking it, draining it and dropping it like I normally would. I was holding onto it just because I was like, I need to stay hydrated. Even though it's annoying holding it, it's going to be more useful for me later on down the line. Mile 6 is Cutty Sark, incredible atmosphere. Turned like the volume off on my headphones to just really take it in, and just absolutely loved that part of the course. Got to mile 8 and I was definitely like tracking differently to the mile markers at this point, and I was probably about almost 0.2 of a mile out when we got to mile 8. Now, as I said, we'd had this race strategy up to mile 18. I was just going to be running at these certain paces, and at mile 8, because I was out, I was like, oh, let me just lap my watch to get back onto the mile marker. Big mistake, because I had a workout builder set up which was going to help me push through that last stage of the course. So the idea was from mile 18 I was going to operate on an 8-2 workout where I push for 8 minutes and 2 minutes would just back off the pace a little bit, and that was going to mentally help me get through that last bit, and also try to increase the pace at times, but on tired legs you'd have the recovery. Like, I work really well off of like sessions where like you can push, you get the recovery, and I had done that. If you've watched previous videos, that was my game strategy for Chicago and Valencia, 10-2 the whole way round, because I've been dealing with a bit of an injury, and that had helped me out so much in those races. But yeah, silly me, at mile 8 I'd lapped my watch, and so I just thought, like, you absolute idiot, like, why have you done that? You've messed up your race. And then I thought, no, you haven't, you're fine. Like, you're just running, you just got to keep running. So the workout was lapping on my watch, but I just was keeping an eye on my lap pace the whole time. Like, just keep an eye on the pace that you're running. That's all you need to focus on at this point. So we get to 12 and a bit miles, which is Tower Bridge, and I love Tower Bridge. It's my favourite part of the course, and so just really tried to soak it all in. And then you approach halfway. Now the goal at halfway was to kind of hit around 138 to 141 in terms of overall time, and I was a little over that. I was 141.45, I think, to be exact. And yeah, again, just mentally I was like, well, you're behind, like, you're not now gonna, like, you're gonna have to negative split to try and get a PB. So that was also really mentally quite hard. But then at that point I thought, right, just focus on the mile you're in, and you've got people and reference points throughout the course now that you know that you're going to be at certain places. So you just need to keep getting to those points, because I was wearing my crop top, so I don't have my name on my top. So I know that if anyone's shouting my name, they know me individually, or they're like a fan of the Running Hub, for example. So I was waiting for those cheers, and I did see, like, I got some lovely calls out on the course and like cheers from a lot of our friends, or just people that had messaged me in advance saying I'm going to be here. And that's really kind of what kept me going, getting to those certain points. It was just getting extremely warm at this point. People were like dumping water over their heads. I tried not to do that, because personally I don't like that. So I was just kind of like grabbing some ice, popping it like on my neck. I find that that's what gets really warm for me. I was eating the ice at one point. It tasted quite nice, like the cold sensation in my mouth. And they had hoses. I was kind of running through them, but not right directly through them. It's one of the reasons why I didn't chafe, because I just wasn't completely like soaking myself. But to me personally, that just kind of puts me in a bit of shock if I like dump water. So that wasn't the game plan. So when mile 18 ticked round, I kind of was expecting, like, in the hot year in 2018, mile 16, when it all kind of went wrong for me. And I was like, it's because I verbalised that, like, it's not going well. And I was in my head, I was like, but you're still on pace, like, still keep pushing, still keep fighting, like, you want this. And I was trying to battle, like, with all these positive thoughts and mantras, and I was trying to smile and taking in the crowds, like, you love London, like, you've trained so hard for this, like, all of these things. But then the same thing, like, it's starting to go really hard, like, the signals from your brain are telling you that you're tired, your legs are done in. But no, just kind of kept pushing, and still kept looking at my watch, and I was like, you're still hitting 7:40, no matter how tired you feel, or this is harder than you want it to feel, it doesn't matter, because you're still on pace, just keep going. Felt a little better when I got like past mile 20, and then you saw like the kilometre signs come down, so it's like, right, okay, like 10k, like 12k to go, 10k to go, just kind of keep fighting for that next part or the next person that you're going to see. And then at some points when I came back onto the embankment by about 21, I was like, right, let's see if we can push for a little bit and then hold back. But I just didn't want to keep looking at my watch, and I'd push for a little bit and I was like, nah, you haven't got it in your legs. So I'd pull back and I'd try and push a little bit again. And yeah, at this point it was like, right, you're still on pace and you're still doing well. So just keep fighting for the finish. Mile 24 and 25 up to 26, or mile 25 and 26, I had started to slow slightly. I'd seen that on my watch. It was creeping up towards 7:50. And I was like, but it's fine, like you're in the last few miles. I don't think I really cared. I didn't care, but I was like, you just have to keep running at this point, just keep going. So that was what I was doing. Fortunately, I'd been able to fuel really well, like carb loading had gone well. I had hydrated quite well throughout the course. Gels had gone down really well. And I think that was a lot down to making sure that I'd stay hydrated. Like in the heat, it can be very easy to not be able to take on the gels, like start feeling sick. But even on like one of my last Morton gels, it's so thick and I was like, oh, I can't take this. But I was like, you've just got to get it down, like it's going to help massively. So I fueled every half an hour. So I had 6 gels in total. I took my last one at 3 hours and I was like, even if you've got 20 odd minutes left, it doesn't matter, that's going to help for the last. It will take a little while to get into your bloodstream, but it's going to help for that last bit. So take the damn gel. And then I just was willing myself to like get to the point where you turned right by the Houses of Parliament and then like Big Ben's behind you. I was like, just keep going. I was looking out for like, normally they have like 800 meters to go, 400 meters to go, but they just didn't have that. And then because I'd obviously was tracking longer, I looked down at my watch and it was like 25.7 and I was like, I have no idea if I've got half a mile, if I've got a little bit more or even like a kilometre or more than that. But I was like, again, just keep fighting for the finish at this point. And I was still going. I'm really proud that I didn't walk like in previous marathons, like even like with getting good times. I mean, to be fair, in Chicago, Valencia and London, I haven't walked at all. So I was like, I don't think I did. No. So I was like, just keep going, like not walking. Like people around you were walking. Some people were having like real issues where they were on the side of the road. Like obviously, I hope they're all safe and sound now, but yeah, it's very difficult when you're in that moment when you see people walking and your legs are just like done at mile 26. You're like, I just want to stop, but you don't. So we got to the finish and yeah, 3:24.18. Yay! So hopefully I've Boston qualified. 3:30 is the cutoff, so that gives me about 5 minutes 40 for a cutoff, which I hope is enough. If it's not, then is what it is. Did my best on the day in the hot conditions, and that I've got a good for age time, so I'll go back to London next year and shave off even more and get myself to that Boston start line. Initially at first when I did cross the line, I was a bit deflated, if I'm being honest. I felt like I'd let James down because of the watch issue, and I wasn't quite sure at the time. Like I knew that I'd given it my all, but also in some respects, like had I given up the fight early on because of that mishap in the race, or would I have felt like that regardless, just because of the weather? You know, like I was still able to hold pace the whole time, but it just felt hard from like halfway onwards, and it was just like the second half wasn't enjoyable as such. Like I was thinking in my mind, like I've enjoyed this training block so much, and it just race day, it just hurts. Funny to say that really, but I was like, you've enjoyed the training block more, but then in other essences I was like, no, but you've worked so hard for this, just keep going. So yeah, initial thoughts were deflated, like feeling a bit deflated, but when James called me straight away and was like, woohoo, I'm so proud of you, and saw him, and he was like, no, like it's just been such a hard day, like so many people haven't got what they wanted to, like you, if anything, you fought hard and you pushed on and you got what you set out to do. Like a PB wasn't initially what we'd set out at the start of the year to do, it's just how the training had gone. And so I know that it's within me, but just on Sunday it wasn't quite there. But once I'd had time to digest, and you know, I feel like once you cross the finish line of a race straight away, like you're so depleted of everything that it is very emotional. So things are heightened, and so it does take a little time to reflect and digest. And quite quickly, I was quite happy again, and celebrating the fact that, yeah, I'd got a BQ. I'd got some lovely messages from people that had been tracking, like my dad called me, and yeah, like to make my dad proud just is like means everything to me, like more than anything. So yeah, he called me, and that was lovely to know that he'd been tracking me the whole way round, and yeah, he was just so happy for me. So that definitely that turned me around quite quickly after speaking to my dad. And then yeah, just like I said, lots of lovely messages from people, just saying like we followed the whole journey, and it's just been so lovely to see what you get what you wanted to set out to achieve. Yeah, now we're a few days on, feeling exactly the same, like really happy and pleased with how it went. And you know, London is just such a magic and iconic race, and yeah, I can't wait to put myself through it again at some point. So kind of like takeaways from this block and the day is that this style of training really works for me, and I'm looking forward to taking that forward into the next training block. I'm proud that I've built the confidence in myself again, and that I'm being brave and bolder with myself, and that is then in turn leading to success and progress along the way. I wouldn't have changed anything about race day. The only thing would have been just not lapping my watch. Like everything else, like I've got good routines with things, and having done enough races, I know what works for me. But yeah, maybe just the lapping of the watch. Yeah, I don't think I would have potentially could have gone out harder, but I could have faded more towards the end and actually got a bit of a slower time. So probably played it a bit sensible at the start, but then obviously it worked because I was able to hold on for that pace for 24 miles. So that did work in that respect. And yeah, like it's just so nice to see that all of the hard work that you put in paid off at the end. So yeah, we got the medal, we got the time, we're going to get the opportunity to submit for a Boston place for 2026, and we'll find out later on in the year. Yeah, so no, super happy because it has been like a really, at the start of the year and the back end of last year, it was quite challenging with losing my nan. So I did think about her a lot during that, and yeah, just wanted to make her proud because she did often quite come at the start when I first started doing London Marathon. She did come always and watch and meet us afterwards, and it's nice just to have got another medal, and it just means a lot to me and thinking of her. But okay, not to make this too emotional now, but we've got lots to look forward to. I won't tell you about it yet, but we have got some races planned, and I'm looking forward to getting back running again. Although obviously we're going to take recovery very seriously at the minute, and look forward to what's to come in summer. So thank you for joining me for my race recap of the London Marathon 2025. If you have been inspired, the ballot is open until Friday the 2nd of May. And then if you can't if you haven't put in for the ballot, there is also charity options as well. Or if you've done marathons before, good for age or championship. But yeah, head over to the London Marathon website, they'll have all the information there. So from me and my medal and my BQ, we'll catch you in the next video.